and I don't want to harp on the fact that you're 25, but I got to harp on the fact that you're 25. And yet you're telling me about your investor, your experience as being an actual investor. So talk about that. I mean, you and this is before BiteSight, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct. This was my first job out of college.
You were an investor before BiteSight. Talk about your experience as an investor. How do you get into that space, and talk about that for a moment?
Of course. So, I worked at a fund called General Atlantic, which fantastic fund. Absolutely love my team. I love the people that I worked with. And it was about 100 billion AUM, assets under management fund, primarily focused on, at least my group, focused on technology investing. And so we've invested, in all types of companies that you've heard about, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, a lot of the large tech names. We led their growth rounds. And so basically these were the investment rounds they raised right before they went public. And so what's awesome about General Atlantic is that the fund kind of came in and pioneered, this world of growth investing. And what that means is that, when you're early stage company, in the early days, maybe you have a few people, maybe you've got 100 employees, whatever, you can go to a venture capitalist and they can write you a $10 million check pretty easily. But all of a sudden, let's say you're a company that has 1,000 employees and you're not quite ready to IPO and raise from public markets, but maybe you still need to raise another 100 or 200 or $300 million in equity, right? Not debt, because you're a high growth company, maybe not profitable, but equity. That's where General Atlantic came in. And so I think what was awesome for me is that not only did I get to really see businesses that were massively successful, right? Because at this point in time, you're not necessarily looking at companies that are still these potential moonshots, flip a coin, they work, they don't.
Right.
Like, these were real businesses that were generating, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and were growing really quickly. And so I think seeing that up close and meeting the CEOs and the founders of those companies and seeing the strategic decisions they were making and how they thought about raising more money or growing a business that was already really large and taking it to that next level so it could IPO was incredibly formative to, how I thought about approaching things with BiteSight. At the same time, I was also really fortunate that one of my main coverage areas while I was at General Atlantic was restaurant tech investing. And so I spent, the better part of my 2 years at GA just looking at restaurant software. All the software that was used in restaurants, everything from the point of sale system to the front of house software for like getting reservations, the back of house software for, managing how much inventory you have or who's going to be working in the shift management. I actually got to look at those companies and study what was working and what wasn't. And so for me, having that experience and understanding, where there was opportunity in the restaurant tech space was a big part of what actually enabled me to go and build BiteSight and have confidence that there was an opportunity here.
Now, if I understood correctly, and if I read you about you, weren't you with a Y Combinator at one point?
Yeah, so it's funny. I've actually been really fortunate. I got to go through Y Combinator 2 times, and I got to see it from 2 different perspectives. And so basically my, very first real job, I would say, was when I was in college, my very freshman year of college. So, I had just gotten there. I had done a full year, and I had an opportunity to go intern at JP Morgan, the investment bank. And, this was crazy because JP Morgan really only accepts like juniors and seniors to go intern.
Yeah.
And by just sheer force of like networking and talking to the right people and all of these different things, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to intern as a freshman at JP Morgan. And it was the greatest opportunity that I could imagine. All my peers were kind of around me like, oh my gosh, like, how did Lucius do this? Like, all of these things. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how did I do this? Like, I really lucked into it. It was definitely one of those, right place, right time type of things. But the kind of funny thing is that at the time, I also kind of had this mentor who is to this day, one of my best friends and still one of the greatest mentors I've had. And her name was Catherine Allen. And she had just started this company, probably a year prior. And, she had kind of mentored me through my freshman year, because she was now, graduating senior at this point. And, you know, she basically was like, Lucius, I know you've got this opportunity to go work at JP Morgan this summer. And everyone wants to go work at JP Morgan, but like, I think you really like entrepreneurship. And I also knew that like I really liked entrepreneurship. And so, what I ended up doing is I basically said, you know what? Instead of going and spending my summer doing JP Morgan, I'm just going to take a risk and go work at this tiny 2-person startup. And like at the moment, everyone around me was looking at me crazy. I mean, my parents were even looking at me crazy. They're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Right. And the kind of funny story here is that I had so much belief and conviction in this person, Catherine, that she was doing something really awesome that I wanted to be a part of, that I turned down this opportunity to work at JP Morgan and do it, and instead was going to stay in Austin. Funnily enough, 3 days into accepting this opportunity and turning down JP Morgan and saying, I'll figure it out later, they get into YC. And so what was supposed to be, just this, really slum it out with no money from investors in Austin, just kind of doing whatever for the summer and figuring out what entrepreneurship was that way, just by pure kind of taking that risk, I joined the startup and we get into YC. And so that summer, instead of staying at JP Morgan, I moved to San Francisco and spend the entire summer interning at this startup. And I get to wear so many hats, everything from operations to sales to product. And that ended up being one of the greatest decisions of, my early career, because not only was I fortunate enough to be able to go and spend a summer at JP Morgan like 2 years later, so still got to get that notch in my belt, but I ended up working at this company Flow for 2.5 years throughout college.
Mm,
And I learned a ton, wore a ton of different hats. And I think that was kind of the real experience that made me say, you know what? This startup stuff is actually what I want to be doing for the rest of my
mm,
life.
mm.
And so I am so glad that I got in the habit of taking risk early, because I think there's so many folks out there who never get in the habit of taking risk. And before you know it, so much of your life has gone by and you haven't gotten comfortable with taking that leap. And so you'll never really be in a position to. And so for me, because, I had basically done that once, right? Where I had said, hey, I'm going to try and take a bet on myself or a bet on a startup and, see if things work out and know that I'll be fine if they don't. When it came time for me to take that same leap and leave my really cushy job in finance that, was allowing me to live this super fun bachelor life in New York as a 20-something-year-old, I was mentally prepared because I had done it before. And so, what's great is that I had that experience at Y Combinator while I was in college and working at the startup, learned a ton, realized how valuable of an experience that was. And then I was fortunate enough to, a few years later with my own company and as a founder rather than an intern, do YC then too. And, happy to talk about that experience, but fortunate to have been able to do it twice.
I want to make sure we don't talk over the heads of some who may not be. So I just, for the sake of those who may not be aware, explain briefly what Y Combinator is.
Great point. Great point. So Y Combinator is a startup accelerator. And what that means is that they take a handful of companies every
Right.
single year and they give the companies two things. One, investment. So they say, hey, we're going to give you, a lump sum of money for a portion of your company. And so they invest in your company. And they also give you mentorship. And so not only did I get this investment in my company that, literally allowed me to pay my rent and hire a team of people to work with us and, kind of get this thing off the ground when, before then we were just living on ramen noodles and trying to figure out how we are going to make a single dollar. Um, from there, they also put us in touch with some incredible business people. For example, one of our group partners was a man by the name of Michael Steibel, who founded a company called Twitch,
Mm,
which sold for hundreds of millions of dollars,
right.
uh, which was fantastic. And so having someone like that as a mentor that we got to talk to every single week, multiple times a week about the things that were going well and the things that were going poorly was incredibly important to our business. And so I'm eternally grateful for my time and the folks at YC because I don't think BiteSite would be
Right.
here as it is today without their early kind of support and championing of
You
us.
you you talk early on. You talked about the opportunity that you had with J.P. Morgan. Was that an internship or was that an actual opportunity the first time? Or I'm just trying
Yeah,
to.
so the first time, yeah, great point, great point. So I got an internship opportunity to go to JP Morgan my freshman year. And so they said, hey, you can go and do banking at JP Morgan. I think it would have been in like the New York office. And then sure enough, soon after, like the next year, COVID hit. And so
Mhm.
everything got canceled. And so I ended up going and doing a JP Morgan internship that was supposed to be in their San Francisco office doing technology investment banking. And I ended up doing the internship, 2 years later, instead of when I originally got it my freshman year. But it was all remote, and so I was basically just in my childhood bedroom, typing away on Excel all day, which not nearly as fun as I
Right.
think kind of envision it, but it was still a great learning lesson.
So the reason I'm asking is because obviously an opportunity comes up and you decided not to necessarily take it. And again, I'm only asking this because again, this may hopefully inspirational to someone who actually decides to make the decision to bet on themselves as opposed to kind of going with the flow. When you made the decision to, I guess, not to take advantage of this opportunity, if you don't mind me asking, what exactly were you giving up in terms of, say, salary?
I mean, so my very first job, like with JP Morgan, I think they offered me right out of the gate before bonus $95,000, and so
And your
crazy.
mom and dad were looking at you like, are you crazy? Is that
Exactly. And what's insane, I think, beyond that is, and again, this is just crazy, but it puts everything into perspective and how crazy this world is, which I think I didn't really fully appreciate it, when I was in it. But when I left my job, working at General Atlantic as an investor, to go and do my own thing, you know, in the moment I was just like, I've got to believe in myself. But like, it was crazy because that year, first year out of college, no work experience, nothing except for the college experience that I had and being on the job. That year, they paid me $200,000,
wow?
which is insane.
Yeah,
And so it's like to be able to leave that and go take a bet on yourself, there's insane amount of opportunity cost because it also stacks. You think about what could have been, so on and so forth. And I've got friends who stuck around and say didn't leave and, wanted to stay on kind of that finance straight path, not really take risk. And like
right,
those same people are now making 400, $500,000 and they're my age. Right. And so sometimes it gets hard when you're like, man, like what could it have been if I stuck around? But I
right.
think that's where building that kind of conviction and belief in yourself that it'll all pay off, I think really helps. But also, I think really being in love with what you're doing
Hmm.
matters so, so much. Because on those days when things are really hard, and you want to fall back to the maybe I shouldn't have done this, maybe this was the wrong decision. Instead, what I think about is the fact that I'm doing the thing that I love with people that I love spending time with. And, I don't think I would trade any amount of money for that because I get to kind of control my own destiny in a way that, I would not have when I was working for someone else.